What's up everyone, welcome back to another Domestic 3 video. And in this video I will be doing another tier list, but this time the tier list is going to be a bit different because I'm not going to be ranking Pokemon. Instead I will be ranking every Pokemon game, well at least every Pokemon game that I have played, main series, so the mainline games from Gen 1 all the way into Gen 9. And yeah, all this is going to be based on my opinion, and I've played through every single Pokemon game, main series game, except for Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, and I probably never will unless I get gifted the game for free or something, because I'm not gonna go out of my way to buy it. I'm not interested. But other than that, I've played every other main series game, well at least at minimum one of the pairing. Like there's, for example, I played Omega Ruby, but I have not played Alpha Sapphire. I've played X but not played Y. I've played Brilliant Diamond but not Shining Pearl. I've played Shield not Sword. But some, like for example Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, I've played all three of them. And yeah, I'm here to give my opinion. But most of them, like that are pairs, will probably just be like next to each other. But I'm gonna prefer one over the other. Starting off, Red and Blue. Red and Blue, full of glitches. The first time I really played, I only played like Red once and Blue once. I never really have a reason to go back to those games. I played Red twice actually. I played Pokemon Red on the calculator, on my TI calculator, because I was bored. But I played Pokemon Blue back in the day, and Pokemon Red like a very long time ago. It was some of my first Pokemon games to play. And yeah, especially Pokemon Blue was one of my favorite teams, but I never really beat the league because the game glitched out, and yeah, I got stuck. And the save file was lost because it was on like my old phone. Yes, I used the phone to play it. So these games, I guess for nostalgia purposes, I guess it's alright, because they're like some of the first Pokemon games I've played, but I have not played them much recently except on the calculator. I would put them in not good, but yeah, I'll keep them in not good, actually, because they can't really be in I. Because looking at all these other Pokemon games, almost every Pokemon game here is, in my opinion, better than Red and Blue. So I can't really put it, well, like better in terms of like quality, the gameplay, all the necessary Pokemon features that should be in Pokemon, like the better battle mechanics, better sprites, etc. But I guess for nostalgia purposes, I'll put it here. I did enjoy it at the time. Yellow, on the other hand, I've not actually played through Yellow. I forgot about that, and Yellow is different enough from Red and Blue that I could say it's a separate game. But I've not played Yellow, and I'm not planning to in the future. Now, Gold and Silver. Gold and Silver, a lot of people complain about the level curve of Gold and Silver. Personally, when I played the Gen 2 games for the first time, I also found it really annoying. It was one of the reasons why I couldn't really beat the league in my first playthrough, because I didn't want to grind. My Pokemon were way too underleveled. So yeah, I didn't really have much fun experience playing the Gen 2 games. Like Gen 4 Heart Gold Soul Silver is by far superior in every way, but yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much as Red and Blue. And I just want to say I would also put Crystal within Don't Want to Play, but I played Crystal the most out of the three. And Crystal I by far enjoyed the most. Suicune is also my favorite legendary. I like that whole Suicune arc with that one character. I forgot that character's name. But the main problem I really just have with Crystal was that there was no Ampharos. So yeah, I struggled a bit. I didn't want to use a Victory Ball on my team. So, yeah, that was like one problem. Why did Gold and Silver get Ampharos but not Crystal? Also, if I haven't mentioned it already, here's the tiers. Gold is really good, it's alright, not good, don't want to play it, and never played. Now moving on to the games I probably spent before 3D era. I probably spent the most time playing the Gen 3 games. Until 3D era, that all changed. But Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, I think they're all really good. Emerald probably the best of the three because it has like the most, it had more features. It had just better gameplay overall, better story. Even though the story is really similar, but yeah, I really enjoyed playing the Gen 3 Hoenn games a lot. They did so much the quality of life stuff got added, such as like running, and like weather was added. A lot of cool new Pokemon. Flannery was added. A lot of really cool stuff happened in Gen 3, which makes Fire Red and Leaf Green also really good. I mean, I guess I shouldn't really say it's aight, but to me, it's aight is like above average. So let me just clarify that up. I like it. Let me actually like just put. Yeah, that seems about better. I don't like how it's like that though, so I will add a row below. I'll change it to orange. My screen is lagging a bit, but that's fine. And then we'll put, yeah, I prefer leaf green, mostly because the cover is Venusaur, but also because I prefer leaf green and blue over Fire Red and red, because of Sandshrew and Sandslash. Sandshrew and Sandslash are a blue and leaf green exclusive, and I really like those Pokemon a lot more. I just like the blue and leaf green exclusives more than red and Fire Red. And now Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, all of which I really had a very fun time playing. And do I say it's better than the Gen 3 games? Probably not. I'm gonna put it in this order. Diamond, Pearl, I had the same emotions playing through. Platinum, I enjoyed the most clearly out of the three. And just seeing a trend here, the third mainline game is of each set of games, probably the best ones out of them. And now gonna be a controversial opinion here. The Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, a lot of people they would say it's goated. To me, there's a lot of stuff in Johto that I really dislike. Like I dislike the fact that JoJo is so sorry, not JoJo, JoJo Bizarre, Johto, excuse me, is by far like the most I don't want to say the most boring region, but it relied too much on Kanto for it to be like memorable, I guess. Like it had a lot of good Pokemon, but a lot of stuff were like locked post game. A lot of stuff was locked in Kanto that we can't use in the main playthrough of the team up until the Elite Four. And the level curve was just awful, and the story was also not as interesting as well. It relied too much on like building off of Kanto, but overall still a very fun game. And yeah, I put it over all of these so far. And now onto the Gen 5 games. These spiked in popularity within the last few years. At first, I've heard like people really didn't like them, and overall, when I played through Pokemon White, I really enjoyed it. I'm planning to play Pokemon Black soon in the future, but I picked Pokemon White first because I really like Zekrom more, and I guess they are really good games. I really enjoyed playing them. The team I used was like full of Pokemon I never used before, which was fun about Pokemon White and Pokemon Black. But because they didn't have any Pokemon from the national decks, they only had regional decks Pokemon in Pokemon Black and White. So yeah, I got to use a bunch of new Pokemon I never really used before in the previous generations. And then Black 2, White 2 was just an upgrade of Black and White. It was really fun to play. I got to try out even more new Pokemon, and it just overall the story is also like one of the best in the series. Every gym leader except for like those chefs felt like important, and it is overall the story building and the gameplay made this game very fun for me. And now the 3DS era. 3DS era is the one that I grew up playing the most, and the one I probably spent the most hours into. And starting off, Pokemon X and Y. Pokemon X and Y are definitely go-to games for me. People say it's way too easy. If it's too easy for you, just make it more harder for yourself. Like, don't complain if it's too easy. Just you actually do something to make it harder for yourself. Like, just don't complain about it. You can make it a Nuzlocke. I'm pretty sure you can turn off EXP share in this game as well. Can you not? You can also like just have a team of 12. It's a really fun game that just gets overlooked because of the difficulty. I personally prefer 3D sprites over Black and White and Black and White 2 2D sprites, the moving sprites. I definitely prefer 3D. It makes the Pokemon feel more alive. Even if they don't like move much in battle, they still like feel a lot more alive to me. I just enjoyed it so much more. I've played Pokemon X probably the most times out of every Pokemon game. I like reset it the most and played it like properly. Also, just getting Pokemon Omega Ruby and Pokemon X for my birthday all those years ago was just like the greatest feeling ever. And in Gen 6, I really had like a really fun team as well. Except the one thing I would say I dislike about X and Y is the starters are all kind of mid, especially Greninja. But that didn't stop me from like enjoying the game. The story was also quite good, with like Team Flare, and I definitely would play it again. And now the Pokemon game that probably is my favorite Pokemon game of all time, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Specifically Omega Ruby. I have not played Alpha Sapphire, but yeah, Omega Ruby I picked over Alpha Sapphire because Groudon. I like Groudon more. I like a lot of the Omega Ruby exclusives more, and just overall, this game I spent the most time into. It's my first official handheld Pokemon game. The Pokemon games I've played before Omega Ruby were just like ROM or like on an emulator. Omega Ruby was the first one I actually played on a proper console, which is the 3DS, and I spent so much time into it. Sceptile is my favorite Pokemon of all time, and going through Omega Ruby with like Trico, Grovyle, and then Sceptile eventually, and then catching some of my favorite Pokemon of all time, so Swellow, Torkoal, Manectric, and then getting to fly around with the Latios. Like, getting Latios in early in the game was actually a really cool like feature of Omega Ruby. You can just fly around, and the gliding mechanic is one of my favorite mechanics of all time. I really want them to bring it back somehow. Like, maybe we can take, instead of like just Corviknight taxis, we could probably just ride Corviknights everywhere or something. That would be so cool. Like, I wanted that for the Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon games. Instead of just the Charizard, we could just maybe fly around on Charizard. That would be so much more fun. And it's so visually pleasing as well. The 3D aspect is so cool. And I just enjoyed basically everything about Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, except that the Battle Mason could have been added. But other than that, not Battle Mason, sorry. I forgot what it's called. The battle facilities. I forgot. They replaced the battle. I forgot what they're called, but they replaced them with the Battle Mason. But I need to search this up. The Battle Factory or something. Let me search it up. Pokemon Emerald. The Battle Frontier. That's the thing I was thinking of. The Battle Frontier. The Battle Frontier could have been added, and I would definitely like the game more. But like what made me enjoy Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire a lot as well is the Delta episode. Delta episode was really good. Zinnia is one of my favorite Pokemon characters of all time, and they made Flannery 3D, so another dub. Now moving on to the Gen 7 games, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, and I just realized I have also never played Sun and Moon, and I probably never will. Because Ultra Sun and Moon is just better versions of Sun and Moon. So why get Ultra Sun and Moon? Why get Sun and Moon when you could get Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon? So I was one of the few that got didn't get Sun and Moon, but got Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. And I know a lot of people dislike Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon because they already played Sun and Moon, and because they already played Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, it just felt like a remake of Sun and Moon, which is, or just like an update, just added on extra things. To me, I didn't have that experience because I never played Sun and Moon, which made me really like Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Ultra Moon, I probably have the second most time into. I have the most time shiny hunting in it. My shiny Absol that I got raised it, maxed out its like attack IVs, speed IVs, and just like it was one of the first Pokemon I properly built. But this one was like probably built for like shiny hunting, so it gave False Swipe, Thunder Wave, and then it was just so much fun to use. Just to go around false swiping shiny legendaries, and by far the most shiny hunting I've ever done was just in Ultra Moon. I got the shiny charm there, which I also used shiny Absol for. I got shiny Absol before completing the dex to get shiny charm, which took me like about 3 Pokemon PCs worth of eggs, and it was really worth it in the end. I got so much shiny legendaries. Even the main story is also one of my favorite in the game. I really enjoyed like just the whole story in general. The Ultra Recon Squad, the Team Skull, and I'm pretty sure like I forgot what Lusa means. Team is called Aether Foundation. Aether Foundation. Those 3 teams, they're really cool in my opinion. Gladiator is also a cool rival. They have, like, the characters are also really fleshed out and has so much personality compared to some of the previous games. It's just I dislike that like carnival place to connect to the internet. I just like that, man. They could have just brought back the GTS. And moving on, Sword and Shield. A lot of people dislike Sword and Shield at first. For me, it's the opposite. People disliked it because of the design and the like the trees or whatever, how the game looked. Personally, I don't care too much about design of the game, of like how the game looks. As long as the game is fun for me, I would enjoy playing it, and definitely enjoy playing it. I have not finished the DLC, but the DLC was a nice added touch that they brought on another like story, 2 more stories actually, into the already good story of Pokemon Sword and Shield. And it's the first Pokemon game where I used like a team of 12 properly. So then like it made the game more difficult for me, made it more challenging, but in return it made it more fun, and I got to bond a lot more with more Pokemon, with 12 Pokemon, 12 or 14, I can't remember if it was 12 Pokemon or 14 Pokemon, but yeah, I just had so much fun with all of using each one of those Pokemon, and they're all new as well, all from Gen 8, so from now on, a rule I made for myself is every new generation, I'm only using new Pokemon from that generation, so you know I can just bond with more Pokemon. It's probably up there with Ultra Moon and Omega Ruby with basically all the Pokemon in Pokemon games in Golden tier. I probably played the most out of every Pokemon game there is. And Pokemon Shield, I picked over Sword because I just like Zamazenta's design better. I know Zacian is better battle wise competitively, but just design wise, Zamazenta is by far superior. And moving on, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. A lot of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl players really dislike the game for multiple reasons: glitches, chibi style, the game just being Diamond and Pearl, but like worse in their opinion because it's 3D sprites or whatever. I personally enjoyed Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl a lot more than Diamond and Pearl. I'd even rank it above Pokemon Black and White. I know a lot of people just pitchforks down, man. I know a lot of people are gonna shoot fire at me, but I enjoyed the game, and the underground was also a nice touch, and I felt like it was just an upgrade visually. It was an upgrade like to the game mechanics, and just overall, I don't understand why people dislike it so much. It was a fun game to me. I enjoyed playing it. I definitely enjoyed playing it a lot more than the next game. But yet, I'm tired of Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl slander, because I know there's like a lot of bad like glitches and things in the game, but it's still pretty fun to play. If you like Diamond and Pearl, it's just a more visually pleasing Diamond and Pearl. And what's not to like about that? And just my personal experience playing through the game just made me enjoy it a lot more because of the way I played it. I had a team of 12, all of which got their own ball capsule, and all of which just like I tried out like even new Pokemon that I haven't used out in Diamond Shining Pearl. Sorry, in Diamond and Pearl Platinum. So just overall, just a fun experience for me. A lot of people should really just put the pitchforks down and maybe try having fun with the game. It's a really good game. But the next game, Legends Arceus, I don't want to play it. Apart from the fact that like visually and story-wise, it's probably visually it's not even that great in my opinion. It's alright, it's like mid. But one thing I like about Legends Arceus is the story and the wildlife aspect of it. Like the fact that you're just going out in the wild, all these Pokemon are like not tame, they're all attacking you all over the place. That is like really cool for Pokemon, just going full on open world into like the wilderness with Pokemon just everywhere. That is like what I like about it. But it just felt so empty, you know. Just going through the woods, like you'll see like a few Pokemon there, here and there, and then it just feels like an empty. There's like an empty field. It feels so empty. Just having to go back and forth between the village and the different areas is quite annoying as well. Annoying to traverse. The Pokemon, like they didn't add like much new new Pokemon. They added new evolutions and regional forms, but there's no like full on. Aside from Enamorus, there was no new just whole species, no new line of Pokemon that could have been cool and could have been just added in Legend Arceus. But I can say that the Pokemon they added for Legend Arceus are some of the best Pokemon just in general. I really like most of them. I've used almost all of them. I've used like a team of 12 for Legend Arceus as well. Like all the regional forms, like Decidueye's regional form, Samurai's regional form, Basculin Legion, Weirdeer, Zoroark, Arcanine, all really cool. Some of my favorite Pokemon to this day. And other than like just the Pokemon and the story and the wildlife aspect, overall I didn't enjoy it as much. Just the game mechanics was also kind of annoying to use. Like Weirdeer and Braviary I was struggling to use. Sneasler as well. Basculin Legion was fun. Oh god, I just heard my door close. Holy shit, that surprised me. Basculin Legion surfing was probably my favorite mount of the game. The one I just run around, swim around with Basculin Legion for fun. But other than that, it's just difficult to control as well with the other mounts. And just each map also feels a bit too small. I don't know, I just didn't like Legends Arceus, and I really hope they don't make another Legends game unless it's like Legends Dragon or something, because I want to see like the original Dragon of Gen 5. But other than that, I'm not a big fan of the Legends game. Also the primal, not primal, is it primal version? Origin versions of the Dialga and Palkia are some of my least favorite Pokemon designs recently. In the recent games, they look way too weird. Giratina by far has the best origin designs. And last and definitely not least, Scarlet and Violet. To me, I've never lagged in the game. I've never bugged out in the game at all. The games were by far some of the best stories in all Pokemon. The 3 stories, all leading up to that one final chapter in Area Zero, the best mainline story. And then the post game after you beat Professor Sada, or if you played Violet, Professor Turo, the post game was also kind of interesting. It was a bit mid, actually, the post game, but yeah, the whole main story with one featuring Nemona, one with Penny and Team Star, and then the other one with Arvin and the Titans, all leading up to that final arc where you just go down Area Zero and find all these Paradox Pokemon. It's so cool. and just the Paradox Pokemon in general was very like most of them I really like as well. I'll probably gonna make a tier list on that. These mechanics, such as like terrestrialization, was also pretty fun to use. And this is also the first Pokemon game where I properly battled competitively, because usually in like Sword and Shield I really wanted to, but I didn't really have the money to do it. I couldn't buy Nintendo Online. But Scarlet, I was buying Nintendo Online. I got to Master Ball tier with the team I built in Pokemon Showdown I've been using, and then I caught them all shiny in the game, and then built them all, built their IVs perfectly, EVs perfectly, moveset, and then got all the way to Master Ball tier with that team. So that team holds a special place in my heart. And just I used another team of 12 as well, with 11 new Pokemon and just a Hydreigon with Terra Electric there, because I wanted a Pokemon with no weaknesses to use on the team. So that was also really fun to use. Each one of them, Meowscarada, all the way until Hydreigon. They're all so fun to use. And just running around on Koraidon, it felt like Koraidon was such a major part in the story. I know at first I didn't like how Koraidon and Miraidon were treated, presentation wise, but then it all like makes sense now with the story, how they were like weakened, and then just how they just ate sandwiches and became strong in the end. It was really cool to see like the character development of Koraidon and Miraidon. Definitely Koraidon better than Miraidon. I've said this multiple times already. It has more personality, it has a better design, and it is Scarlet and Violet. People are quick to hate on Pokemon games because like as soon as it got released, they're just quick to hate on it. Just because of the lag, or maybe the design and like landscape was not like up to your standards, doesn't mean it's not a bad game. Like just because one tree looks bad doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's a Pokemon game. You're catching magical monsters, using them to fight each other, and you're complaining about designs of trees, or like the designs of the grass and the snow and the texture. Nah, man. Like Terra raids are so much fun to do. Paradox Pokemon are so much fun to catch. I completed the Dex about shiny hunting in this game so much easier. And just like, even just running around in the Union Circle with friends, like there's so much cool new features of Scarlet and Violet, and people are just so quick to complain about the negatives, overlooking all the positives. Like even like the characters are very fleshed out as well. The gym leaders are fleshed out, important. Most of them are, at least. And people also complain about the difficulty of the game, how Gito is really weak. And if you're complaining about the difficulty, just make it more difficult for yourself. It's something you can do, and that Game Freak doesn't have to do. Because some people may prefer an easy game. Some people would want to play an easy game over a hard game. Like new Pokemon players. New Pokemon players aren't really interested in just having a difficult game. They just want to try out a fun game that may be easy. But then all these old Pokemon fans wanting more difficult games, just make it more difficult for yourself. You have the power to do that. Game Freak, new Pokemon fans won't have the power to make difficult games easier for themselves. So yeah, I'm tired of Scarlet and Violet slander. I'm tired of Ultra Moon slander and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl slander. But other than that, overall, we can just tell that from this list, I just really enjoyed playing most Pokemon games, especially the 3D versions, because I'm one of you that prefer 3D over 2D. But yeah, overall, really good list in my opinion. For these Pokemon games, I'm not planning to play anytime soon. Same with these, I'm not planning to play anytime soon. Most of these as well. But then Heart Gold, Soul Silver, I probably should play more, because I only played Heart Gold once as a randomizer, and Soul Silver once on my own. But other than that, yeah. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of my list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Which Pokemon game is your favorite? Which Pokemon game do you play the most? Which one is your least favorite? Are my opinions wrong? If my opinions are wrong, then you are wrong. I'm joking. And yeah, this is a new, not really a new type of video, but a new dynamic to the tier list series. I am just ranking the Pokemon games that are Pokemon. But next week, try to bring I'm not really sure what to do, because the video last week where I really worked hard on the editing and the writing of making Pokemon teams for anime characters didn't really do too well as much as well tier lists. So I'm not really sure what to do. I could just do another tier list next week, but I want to keep it fresh and have new variety in content. So if you have any other video ideas that I could do relating to Pokemon or games of some kind, leave them down in the comments section down below. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.